So you think you failed at something? Are you sure you failed? Do you know the definition of failure? What's happening, Achievers? Ajit Sidhu here from Invincible Achievers. You might think that you failed at something, and when you watch programs or read about in books, there's a lot of people that say, put your hands up if you failed. And a lot of people tend not to put their hands up because nobody wants to tell anyone that they failed in anything. Then the speaker would say, no, put your hands up if you failed, because otherwise you're a liar. And then everyone puts their hands up and say that they failed. But the truth is, what is the definition of failure? Failure is if you stop. Now, by all means, there's nothing wrong with failing. Failing at something just means you tried. You tried at something. But you got to know the definition of failure. Once you know the definition of failure, then you can see and assess yourself to see if you did actually fail at something. Now, failure is if you stop doing something completely and never learned anything from it. That is a failure. You got up, you tried, and it didn't work. And you classify it as a failure. But it's not really a failure, because that process, the mental process that you went through of actually lifting yourself up, trying something new, moving forward, has completely mutated your internal DNA, has completely mutated your internal synapse in your brain, has changed you completely. The person that you were before you did that to what you are now, you're completely different. So when you say you failed, you probably didn't achieve the goal that you set out to. However, you achieved so much more. You achieved experience. You realized what not to do. You realized how much energy you need to put in. You learned so much that there is no actual failure. There's just doing. We're just doing. We get up, we do something, we try something, we move things forward. That's what makes us achievers. Even if we don't achieve the end goal, there's a saying that sometimes not getting your dreams is a blessing, because not achieving your dreams, you end up achieving your destiny. Now, that is absolutely true when you actually think about the outcome. What is the end result? Now, if it's to make £1 million, yeah, that's great. Or if it's to achieve a fantastic body, great. But why? Why do you actually want that? Now, that is the key. Once you know why you want something, I want to be happy. I want to get into a relationship. Usually it ends up with feelings of happiness. You can get that feeling from anything, and that's where your destiny is created. Now, going back to the failure. Failure is if you stop. Anything you do, you build momentum. You start building momentum, you build momentum, you don't achieve the goal, you carry on moving forward. If you're building a business, the business fails, you keep moving forward. There's all the billionaires out there have failed in businesses. Millionaires have failed in business. Anyone who's tried to achieve something has always fallen. But has it been failure? It would have been failure if they had stopped. Thomas Edison, a boy that didn't go to school, went to school for a couple of months. His mum taught him how to read, how to write, how to love learning. He became a self-learner. Now, he went out, started learning the process of sales, started learning the process of adding value to people's lives. And when I believe the Daily Telegraph came out, he realized there was a problem that needed to be solved. So he invented a device that would improve printing. And that's where his inventions started to come out. And he created so many inventions. So many times he failed. Then he had this concept of making the incandescent light bulb. Now, he didn't have the concept of making the incandescent light bulb. He knew the outcome. He wanted to give light to the world. Now, he went through a process. Now, anyone who knows the story, he tried and failed, tried, failed. Every single time he tried to create the incandescent light bulb, there was an explosion, there was a destruction, there was failure. He would grab his book, he would write down, say what he did, what he learned. Now his friend, who was also helping him out in this whole process, decided one day, he got annoyed with Thomas Edison because the explosion caused a huge fire. They had to put it out. He said, are you going to kill us? When are you going to stop this? You're going to destroy this whole building with your explosions. How many failures are you going to have until you realize you're not going to do it? Now Thomas Edison turned around and said, failures? I had no failures. I've just learned how not to make the light bulb. But the explosions that we're making and the inventions that we're creating could benefit in the future, which later on in his life it did. He sold those small little products, the explosions that were happening, what he learned how not to create an incandescent light bulb. But not only that, because he didn't stop, he created the incandescent light bulb, and he also created all the devices to make sure that it's safe. And that's when the electric age came about. The age completely shifted to the electric age because someone didn't give up. That's the thing. He did not fail. He kept moving forward. He kept progressing. He kept learning. He saw there was a problem. He realized the problem. He came up with a solution in his mind, and he started becoming a doer. He started pushing. He started moving forward. Now there's going to be loads of people out there that are going to say, you failed. Sit back down. Don't listen. Don't listen to them. No one should ever hold you back. Now there is that concept about the crabs being put in a small little bucket. Now fishermen, when they go out for crabs, they get the crabs and they chuck them in a bucket that is not that high. They could just crawl out, but they don't. Why not? The reason why they don't put a lid on and the crabs don't crawl out is because as they start crawling out, the other crabs grab hold of them and pull them back down. And they stay in there. So your environment is the key here. If people are actually saying, oh, look at that failure. Oh, go back, sit down. You should actually assess to yourself, do I really want that person in my life? Do I want to listen to them? What qualifications and experience have they got to be able to tell you that you are not good enough? Because I'm giving you the permission to say to yourself, you are good enough. You can keep going forward. You can keep pushing. There is never any failure. If someone asks you the question, has anyone not achieved their goal that they set out to initially, then you can put your hand up. But if you look back and realize that outcome that you wanted was just a stepping stone to the next point, to the next point, to the next point, then you will see it as a success. However, if anyone asks you, has anyone failed? Put your hands up. Don't put your hand up. Because the truth is, you haven't failed. You haven't failed unless you stop. So guys, keep adding value to people's lives, keep spreading the love, and just remember, we're one idea away from changing the future. Take care. Bye.